Hi, how are you doing? Today I thought it would be fun to do like a little weekend reading vlog kind of with a bit of a theme because this is my library haul from last month, 5 books as you can see, and I have only read two, The Death of Mrs. Westaway and One by One by Read Rare, which I read from my Read Rare vlog, so go check out that video for my thoughts on them. But I also these three books are just books I really wanted to read. I just lent these out for a video, and at least I'll allow for my own reading. And it's currently Friday, and on Tuesday these are due back in the library. So I have basically like 3.5 days, because on Tuesday the library only opens in the afternoon, so because it's like the summer holidays, which I think is a bit weird. Wouldn't you think that during the summer holidays you'd be open longer because people are home anyway? But because the summer holidays, our library is only open in the afternoon, so I have like the morning of Tuesday as well, so I have like 3.5 days. And what I said, 4.5 days. Today also counts. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and half of Tuesday I have to read these 3 books. So you know what, I think I might be able to accomplish that, although they are a bit of a chunker. But yeah, so I'm gonna be trying to fly through these 3 books in the weekend. We'll see how that goes. Kind of August passed me by a little bit, that's why I'm so behind on things. But for this video I will be reading, hopefully, The Final Offer by Lauren Asher, which I have started. I will talk about it later. I get A Conjuring of Light by V. Schwab, which is the 3rd and final book in the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, except it's not Shades of London series, that's what it's called actually. And this one is one I'm scared of because it's big. And then last you have How to Make Friends with a Dog by Kathleen Glasgow, which, to be fair, if this one would have to pass me by, I'm not too upset about, but I do still really want to get to this, so hopefully I'll also get around to it. But yeah, like I said, I already started The Final Offer today. I started it this morning, and I forgot how quick Lauren Asher books read because I'm already 150 pages into it. I've only taken a break a little bit to listen to Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter, which came out today, which is top notch. But again, I have a video up with my thoughts on that album normally, so you can go check it out if you want to. But this book is the final book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, which is a series following these 3 brothers whose grandfather, who's basically Walt Disney, just passed away, and like for each of them to receive their inheritance they have to like complete this task, kind of like they have some conditions attached to receiving their inheritance, and they're romance books. And in this one we follow Cal, who is the middle of the Kate brothers, I believe he's the middle one, but he's the last one of the brothers to have not gotten a book yet, to not fulfill his terms yet. And basically what he needs to do to get his inheritance is to go back to their summer house, spend the summer there, and then sell it by the 2nd death anniversary of his grandfather. And that's quickly coming up, so he returns to that summer house. He's been dreading it, he hasn't gone there in years, and when he arrives he finds out that his ex-girlfriend Alana is still living there, because like back in the day Alana and her mom, like Alana's mom, took care of this home when the family wasn't there, you know. So he kind of like grew up together with Alana, and then they were best friends, and then one summer they dated, and then ever since they like broke up, like he hasn't been back there. And he arrives at the house, she's still there, and she's also claiming that the house is actually hers, that his grandfather promised the house to her, and like they figure things out, and turns out that actually they own it 50-50. And this is gonna be difficult because Alana does not want to move, and Cal has to sell the house to get his inheritance. And also like if he doesn't get his inheritance, it also will affect like stuff for his brothers as well. It's a big deal, but he can't talk about it with her. That's one of like the conditions within it. Like the only person he can talk about it is with like the lawyer and his brothers. Those are like the only people that can know about him wanting to sell the house, and like why, like wanting to sell it, but like why you want to sell the house and why it has to be like now. So yeah, that's kind of like that conflict. It's a second chance romance. She's a single mom, which is also really interesting, especially because I feel like kids in romances is like a very highly debated topic, and I feel like a lot of people typically always like put disclaimers like there's a kid in this book, and I've not heard that for this book at all. So the kid showed up, was like, wait a minute, and I reread the back, and the back also says nothing about it. So yeah, it also makes this book feel very heavy compared to the other 2 books in the series, but I honestly quite liking what this book is doing so far. I am only 150 pages in, and this is a bit of a chunker, so I do still have lots to read, but I don't know, I'm having a decent enough time with this one. I'm liking it. I'm flying through it because this bit was read in quite a short amount of time. The only thing I'm kind of stuck on is just how people are treating Cal, which like for a part makes sense because he was stupid and he's not like wasn't the best person because he was like at the height of his like addiction when he and Alana were together back in the day. So the way he broke up with her and like how everything went down wasn't like the best and not the kindest thing to happen. So she was brokenhearted, and it's like a small town, so obviously they didn't care for one another, and like now they aren't a fan of him. But just the way these characters are all just like treating him like he's the devil, it's just a little bit over the top. Like, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it's because we're also on his perspective, so we know like completely where he's coming from and like all of his reasonings that obviously like these other characters don't know. But like every time someone explodes at him, I'm like, dude, chill. You're not helping at all. You're helping no one by doing this. And it kind of just feels a little bit like too much, especially because we know a lot of these people already. At least I do, because technically this was published before the Lakefront Billionaires, but I read the first book in that series last month, and this takes place in the same small town as that series. In fact, the main character of the male main character of that book has already like made an appearance in this book. So it kind of feels so weird to kind of like see that shift between these townspeople, because they are just vile in this book. And I mean, and like I said, I do think they have a little bit of a reason, but like not that much. So I don't know, I don't like that much. But like for the rest, I'm enjoying this one. I'm very excited to keep reading. Hi, excuse my look, but it's the next morning and I thought I'd give you an update because I actually didn't end up reading that much more yesterday. August has just not been my month. Like I got sick at the very, very start of the month. Like August 1st is when I first got sick. And you know, it wasn't fun, it wasn't pleasant, but it wasn't that bad actually. But ever since then, like technically, I'm not sick anymore. But like every once in a while, it just like kicks me back in the butt and I hate it. And that's what happened yesterday. I just, in the evening, all of a sudden, just felt like such utter garbage that I just had no energy to do anything, especially not read. I scrolled on TikTok the entire night, which completely explains like how much my brain was functioning, which means not at all. I needed quick short form content, that's all. So yeah, but I did read a little bit more after talking to you yesterday. I'm on page 234 right now, and I'm still liking it. I do still have my issues with it. It's not like perfection, but I'm having a fun enough time. And actually, want to see my bookmark, because I really love it. Look at this. This is based on the fine print, which is the first book in the series. It's from Oh Seriously Bookmarks, who I'm obsessed with the bookmarks. So yeah, I've been using that to read this because obviously the bookmark is from the first book in the series. This is the third book in the series. So yeah, I wanted to show that off. I don't know why, but seems like the goal for today is to finish this book, which I do think is reasonable. I think I can do that. I really do. Okay, so it's a bit later. I have 100 pages left of this book, and the title conflict just set in, and I fucking hate it. It's generally my least favorite kind of title conflict. But it's not even miscommunication. It's just getting mad at something you made up in your head. Because at this point, I'm not gonna go in details, but Alana hears something out of context that we know about, so we know the context of, we know what it means, but she hears it out of context. And instead of talking to the man she claims to love, she just makes up this fantasy in her head about what it could mean. Just makes up a complete context behind it that is not actually the context behind it. Just like makes up a fairy tale in her head, and then just decides to get mad at him for it, and like uses silent treatment on him, which by the way, silent treatment is trash. If you ever do that to someone you love, you don't love them. That's really, really shitty, especially when it comes about something you made up in your own head. It's so frustrating. So many books do this, and it's just like, there was no quicker way for me to just like not give a shit about your characters anymore than do this. Like that generally is horrid behavior. Just like, how am I supposed to root for these two to get together if she just randomly hears a sentence, makes up a story, and then just pretends like he doesn't exist? Like, no. How am I supposed to root for them? How? Because there was no guarantee that in the future, if they ever have an argument again, if ever she's gonna hear something out of context again, that she's gonna do this again. There was no proof of that, nowhere. And I hate it every single time, because you know it's gonna end up with him groveling, even though he did nothing wrong. And I hate these kind of third conflicts so much. I have to say that this book was going in a 3-star direction for me already, just because I'm not too crazy about it. It's a second chance, but I feel like when it's done in not the best way, at least in my preference. Like, I adore second chance romance, getting to see like this history these two people have together, and like obviously like they have a special connection because of that history, but like also on top of that, it's just seeing them get to know each other again, falling in love with the person they are now. And I feel like when it comes to this book, it just is like, you're still the love of my life, like you were when we were kids, like nothing has changed. I'm like, I don't know, that's just not my brand. I don't know, I don't like it. I feel like it's not necessarily unrealistic, just a whole picking things up where we left off thing. I'm not a big fan of it, and that's kind of what this book is going for. The only thing it kind of has going for it is that Cal kind of needs to re-earn Alana's trust, which makes sense because like his whole addiction and everything, it makes sense that has to happen. But like there's no like development of new feelings, getting to know each other again, because it's been a while since they've talked to, like since they've last talked to each other. She has a kid, she's a very different person, but like none of that's present in this book, I feel like. So I wasn't already too crazy about it, and I mean, I wasn't disliking it, I was still having a fine enough time reading it. I also wasn't the biggest fan of the way Cal's addiction storyline is dealt, because I feel like it's very much a romance can fix you kind of deal, which is just a little bit of an ick. And on top of that, just something that bothers me in this book, I already talked about it, how like the townspeople and stuff like treat him, but like mainly almost all of the characters in this book kind of see this man like basically drowning and like finding his way like back to the surface, and like instead of helping him out, they just like push him deeper down into the water. That's like a terrible analogy, but I don't know how else to describe it. It generally just feels like he is just like trying to get above surface, trying to like not drown, and like instead of people just like reaching out and helping him, they're just like pushing him down again and again. And not to say, of course, that your addiction is nobody's else's responsibility to fix, like not at all. Again, that's why I hate the fact that it does kind of seem like a woman's can fix you kind of story. But then like, I don't know, instead of, I get it if you don't want to like reach your hand out to help him out because, you know, that's bitten you in the ass enough times, I get it, but then just like leave him the fuck alone to deal with it instead of just like pushing him back down, you know? I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm making terrible analogies, but that's also just something I kind of felt a bit iffy about. But I was having a fun enough time. I love Cammy the kid, she is top-notch, everything. But with the started conflict, I just reached the start of it, so it still has to go down, has to get resolved. So perhaps maybe they can fix things for me, but I highly doubt it. So I finished Final Offer, Laura and Asher. It's a 3-star. I'm sorry, I don't think I have hated a main character as much as I've hated Alana in this book in a really long time. Like, oh my god, I hated her so much, so much in those final 100 pages. And I have to say, before that, there's already was some behavior that I just kind of felt a bit icky about. As I said, with like the drowning analogy, she also falls in that. But you know, that was like still was iffy, but like nothing too bad. And then when she turned evil in the last 100 pages, I contributed all those earlier actions as evil as well. So I hate her so much. Only compliment I can give her is that I do think she's a good mom, but for the rest, shite. Especially because not that long after I last talked to you, both Cal and another side character explain the context to her. So, you know, I could get with Cal's like explanation that she's still like a bit untrustworthy about it, but when you got like a third source backing him up, why are you still like thinking that that made up scenario you 100% made up in your brain is actually the correct one, and not the one that you have multiple sources for verifying that are correct? I hated her so much, so much, and I can't live with it. So therefore, also wasn't a fan of a romance. I already said before that I just already wasn't too crazy about it, but now that I fucking hate Alana, I just also can't stand a romance anymore. Cal I actually do kind of like. He's not my favorite of like male protagonists I've ever read, but he's like fine enough, you know. And then like I said, I love Cammy the kid. She is so cute. I love her so much. Also the only one actually behaving like an adult in this book. Like what the hell? Like she's a 4-year-old, I think. I actually don't remember how old she is. Like she's a toddler, and she acts more mature than like 99% of the adults in this book, and it's abysmal. So yeah, I wanted to love this one. I didn't, sadly enough. And I want to forget this book exists, so let's do that and get started on A Conjuring of Library Schwab. This one is so big. Oh my god, how many pages is it? 654. That's not that bad actually compared to the other books in the series. Like book 2, especially book 1, was relatively shorter than book 2. I believe it's around the same size, but this just looks massive. So actually this is only like 100 pages longer than this. I don't know why I'm complaining. Hi, it's Monday morning. I have not read anything since I last talked to you. I know, bad, but I got a package, so I thought I would open it on camera. It's not books, but I'm very excited for this. Just quickly getting my scissors because it's taped. So this is the side that's open, of course, the one with my address. Alright, so I cannot do like a pretty reveal because my address is on this side. Or you know what? Like this, you don't have to see it. Boom. Bam! It's a boiler. It's the short and sweet picture disc. Look at that. I was debating between this and the green alternate cover, and I decided for myself, instead of pre-ordering it like I would have done, I would just wait until I had listened to the album and checked out what was more of the vibe. And I went on the website and the picture disc, the alternate cover was sold out, so it's not like I had a choice. But this is annoying because my sleeve is whipped. That's not fun. You know, I don't mind if sometimes I do have this with like an inner sleeve, just because I don't know what they do. This one they put the record in one because I can easily like shift it over and I have room. But sometimes I feel like they make inner sleeves like too short, like too small, actual record, and it whips. But that's paper. This is supposed to be plastic. So that's not great. I'll have to replace that. But yeah, this is the little sticker on it with like the track list and everything. I hope you can read that. And then I'm not gonna take this out of the thing, but this is Sabrina on the front, a kiss marks on the back. I honestly, when this album was first announced, I desperately wanted this, but then the old cover came out and I was like, oh, maybe it's good that I haven't pre-ordered it yet. And now I don't mind. I'll have it. This is my second picture disc. The first one I have is Guts by Olivia Rodrigo, which is was the Spotify fan exclusive. So I feel very proud for that. But this one I also really like. And yeah, I don't have anything more to show you because it's a picture disc. Okay, so I'm about to make lunch, but it has to be in the air fryer for a little bit, so I'm gonna read while it is in the air fryer. So I thought before doing that, I'd give you an update on why I haven't read anything yet, which is very simple. It's just that I just want to watch my shows. I don't know what this is lately. I've always been more of a movie person than a TV show person, as much as I've always also liked watching shows. But like lately, all I want to do is just watch my shows. And I feel like there's so many things I want to watch and not enough time. And I want today to be a reading day. I generally feel in a reading mood today, which I generally wasn't yesterday. Yesterday I binged. I finally finished My Demon, which I've been in the middle of for a while, and then for the rest I've been binging Criminal Minds because that's all I ever do. So that's what I was in a mood for yesterday, and I just let things be. But today I'm generally in a reading mood, yet yesterday an episode of Love Next Door, which is another K-drama, came out, and I still have to watch it. I'm already in my head trying to calculate when I can have time to watch that because it's an hour long. So I have issues. I don't know what it is. And there's so many shows I desperately want to watch that I haven't even started on yet because I don't have the time for it. I also started my Lady Jane after finishing that book last month. And I'm 2 episodes in and I have not continued. Not because I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I'm also not disliking it. But I haven't continued on with it because I don't have the time for it. Because there's just so many things I want to watch. It's an issue. But I am not reading A Conjuring of Light today. I know I said I was going to, but like reading a fantasy just sounds like hell on earth right now, so I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna read How to Make Friends with the Dog. And actually I knew what this was about when it first came out and I don't remember now. I've read You'd Be Home Now by Kathleen Glasgow. I love that. So that's the only... No, I read the Agathas as well and I hated the Agathas. But when it comes to like hard hitting contemporary, I've only read one of Kathleen Glasgow's books and I'm very excited to read this one, although knowing that this is all about grief, I know I'm gonna cry my eyeballs and I'm not ready for that. Hi, how you doing? I'm not great because I have to officially declare I was reading Blog a Flop because I did not read anything to you. I didn't read anything since I last talked to you. I know I said I was going to, I didn't. It's Wednesday right now. I went to the library yesterday. I did not read a single word. But I do have to admit that I love. I've fallen into a reading slump. It's very obvious from this video that I have. I don't know, I've been struggling for the past couple, like the last week or so, even a little bit more, like the last little bit of August. I've just been struggling so much with reading, where I do want to read. I am excited about the books on my TBR right now, but there's just something about me that every time I think I'm gonna go read now, that thinks, nah, that sounds like the worst thing you could possibly do right now. So that's kind of what happened. Yeah, but I did finish the final offer, Bella and Asha. So there's that, and I thought my thoughts in that book were very interesting. So they're not, but I still wanted to put this vlog out because generally that's just how life goes. I honestly, I started this video in denial of the reading slump. I'm ending it fully, like admitting that I have a reading slump, and just, I don't know, succumbing to it and just letting it happen, because just forcing my way through it is not gonna work this time around. So yay. I did want to show you my little library haul. It's not the most inspired one, but you know, that's what happens when you go to the library in a reading slump. But we have Noah Joseph's Crypt by Annabelle Monaghan and Falling Hard for the Royal Guard by Megan Clausen. These are two adult romances. This one I heard great things about, this one kind of mixed things, but I thought these would just be really fun reads, and I have both of these authors' 2024 releases to NetGalley, so you know, I thought it'd be great to check out. I think both of these came out in 2023, so they're previous releases, so that'd be fun to check those out. And then I got a new release, The Grandest Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the first book in the spin-off series from the Inheritance Games series. You know what? I really disliked the last book in that series, which technically was supposed to be the start of like companion books, but then it just got turned into the last book of the series, and this is the start of the companion books. But I'm curious enough to check this out, but not curious enough to buy it, because like I said, I didn't like the last book in that original series, which was originally supposed to be the first spin-off. And yeah, this does follow different characters though, so I'm quite excited about that, even though I believe our original group is still gonna check in, which is also not as big as the last one in the previous series, because goddamn, that was so boring. This one is actually newly translated, so it was new in my library, but this book has been out for a while. It's Under the Whispering Door by Gigi Colloon, which is fantasy, I believe. And yeah, I own The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I have not read it yet. I thought I might check this out because I have heard great things about his books. But yeah, that's it for today. I'm sorry that this was kind of shitty, but that's just how life is sometimes, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye. Here I am again, the same old situation. What does the